Today we're going to cover every single option in the world of suppliers for e-com and dropshipping. I'll cover the pros and cons of agents, 3PLs, softwares, and websites like AliExpress. That way, by the end of this video, you will know exactly what you need and what method you are going to take to supply your business. Because if you don't have a good supplier for your business, it will fail. It is super important and there's not enough people talking about the options. And I'll be honest, most suppliers for dropshipping suck. Take AliExpress, for example. You pay sometimes insane prices for long shipping times and low quality of product coming in some random yellow box in the mail that's not branded and looks super weird. And sometimes the products even come broken. It's just a nightmare if you scale up your store and you're having to return 25% of your products. Again, suppliers are by far one of the most important things when running your business. If your supplier doesn't work for you, it's going to lead to a lot of headaches. So in this video, I'm going to cover everything that you need to know. It's a full guide about suppliers. I'm breaking down everything. That way you're making the best decision for you and your business, and you're going to avoid some scams, such as the time I purchased an order of 100 headphones and they all came and they were the wrong headphones and everyone needed refunds and reshipped. You don't want to run into stuff like that. All right, so without any more rambling, let's get right into the video. So the real question here is, where do we find reliable suppliers? AliExpress is the base of all products, really. If the product itself has been created and it's not custom, you most likely will find it on AliExpress. But what makes AliExpress more difficult nowadays than it used to be? So number one is the shipping times are not true. Most listings on AliExpress will say that it takes about 2 weeks to ship out your product. You pay them like the $3 to $5 shipping for it. And half of the suppliers either don't send your product, they send a wrong product, or the shipping time turns out to be like 3 months, and then your customers open chargebacks. That is a big problem that people are having and why people recommend staying away from AliExpress. And number two is you really don't know how quality your product is. All suppliers on AliExpress take photos from other companies, other established businesses in e-com already, and use them as their own product photos. They don't really pay attention to it. So that's why you see sometimes a product that looks great on AliExpress, it's got X, Y, and Z features, and then you order it yourself and it's missing all of that stuff and it looks like trash. They don't really have a regulation on copyright for product photos there, which is super, super misleading. But thank God it's 2024 and dropshipping is a lot easier now because there are so many different alternative platforms and softwares that we can use to solve all of the problems in our business. So while we're on the topic, let's talk about the parent company Alibaba and also 1688. Now, if you've been dropshipping or looking into it for a decent amount of time, I'm sure you've heard of Alibaba. It's pretty much the place where more wholesale manufacturers are, rather than AliExpress is more direct to consumer. Same thing with 1688, but it's a little bit more native to China. So if you use that platform, it could be a lot harder to communicate with the suppliers on there. Now, on both of these platforms, because we're speaking to manufacturers directly, they actually used to not really like dropshipping on these platforms, but because how many people have been succeeding with dropshipping, some of the manufacturers on these websites are actually not opposed to dropshipping single orders at a time. You really just need to know how to communicate with them effectively. All right, so let's go on Alibaba really quickly for an example of how to actually communicate with these suppliers. So if you find a product, I just pulled this one up here, you can hit contact supplier at the top right. And then after you log in, it'll bring you to this contact place where it says the quantity amount up here. So if you're estimating a certain amount that you're going to be selling, or you're already selling that product, you can type that in here. Then you can go for the product attributes. You can select the product model number that you're interested in, the features, the application, the warranty. And then in the detailed requirements section is where you can type in the product, size, color, all that stuff to make it super specific to get a quote on this product. So there's already questions that are preloaded for you, but you should ask things like, what's the best price? Are there any pricing discounts if we order more at a time? Do you support drop shipping? Can I actually link you onto my store and ship single items at a time? How much are your shipping costs to each individual country that you want to sell to? How long are those shipping times themselves? And then you want to send your inquiry and it'll come back with all of the questions answered for you. And that's where you're going to really start your relationship with that supplier. If they're replying to you in a timely manner, they look like they know what they're doing, they can send photos of the product to you, and they answer all of the questions that you want, then you might be able to trust them a little bit more and, order a sample product from them and see how it arrives, what packaging, all that kind of stuff before you actually just dive in and say, I'm using this supplier no matter what. So the problem with this method though, and why people say not to use AliExpress and Alibaba anymore, is because it takes a really, really long time to find a high quality supplier. You might send over 100 messages before you get someone that you can actually kind of trust. And then from there, you have to trust them on top of that, or the product, and assume that they're gonna send it out to all their customers in a timely manner in the packaging that you want. It's very time consuming. It can take months to actually find a reliable supplier on here, which is why AliExpress now is not the best for drop shipping. It's okay if you're just ordering a really cheap product for yourself, but when it comes to your business and actually making money, it's really not the best option. Now moving on to the next supplier that we're going to be talking about. This falls into the software category. The name of the software is Zendrop. You've probably heard of it before. So the difference with Zendrop and compared to like AliExpress is they've got the platform all in one. And so they actually work with the manufacturers themselves in China, where they build their relationships and ship the products to Zendrop warehouses where they have full control of the product. So this is the Zendrop website. You may or may not have seen it before. before, but if you go into the find products section, you can see all of the new arrivals and it says by Zendrop fulfillment, which means they have control of this product and you're talking to an American company. So it's a ton easier to communicate and the trust is already established there. Once you find a product that you want on Zendrop, all you have to do is click add to my products and it will upload to your store directly on Shopify once you connect your store, making it super easy to add products and find them, knowing that they're coming from a reliable supplier. They also have a ton of great tools that are implemented in your store, like the dashboard here. So whenever you get orders, it'll tell you all the summaries of how many orders you got for the last 7 days, same day, or whatever you want, all the sales, the cost of that product to ship it out, and what your profit is. It keeps track of all of that for you. And so I talked about custom packaging before and branding and private labeling, which is super important in 2024 to do all those things once you've found your winner, because you want to build out a branded store that's sustainable, right? You want to have brand equity and a brand feel. You don't just want to ship the products in a yellow box all the time. You want people to come back and be returning customers onto your store. So what's great is Zendrop can actually do that. We can actually do branding on Zendrop. You can do bundles and boxes. So if you have like a Valentine's Day kit that you want to send out together, they can bundle those up all for you, put it in your branded box, and then send it out. So it looks like a super legit company. So let's say you find your products in like the trending products section on Zendrop. You really like it. You came up with some good angles. You're using them as your fulfillment, which you already know is guaranteed to ship quality product and quality packaging to your customer. Once the orders start coming in, you'd go into the order section here where you can manually fulfill your orders if you want to, and then it links back onto Shopify, or you can turn on the auto fulfillment. So you literally don't have to fulfill any of your orders yourself manually. It will automatically fulfill all of the orders from the previous day for you. It'll ship them out as fast as humanly possible since it's auto fulfillment. It will also sync all of the tracking and order information back onto your Shopify, so you literally don't have to do anything. Those notifications will go directly out to your customer saying, hey, your package is on the way. Here's the tracking. It does all of that for you, which makes it super easy to use. And they're a great supplier to use if you don't want to scour on AliExpress for a long time. So I use and work with Zendrop directly. So I have got a discount code for you guys. If you want to try it out completely for free, I'll have a link down below in the description. If you've been dropshipping for a little bit of time, you might know what an agent is, but these are individuals that act as essentially middleman between manufacturers and you, right? And then you turn your product into the end customer, or ship it into the end customer. And you might be thinking, oh, another middleman, they might take some profit on top of that, but they actually have a lot of advantages to using them. Forwarders, which is another term for agent, gives you a more personalized service. It's essentially the middleman, like I was saying, between a manufacturer and you. So they help you communicate with the manufacturers to get the best prices, the quality of product, any customizations that you want. They're basically the liaison for you with the manufacturer. They also have direct relationships with the manufacturers like Zendrop does, which helps you with better quality control, better pricing, and maybe some products that are up and coming into the market. Now they do something very similar that Zendrop does, is they communicate with the manufacturers and they bring all of that product that you need in your drop shipping into their warehouse where they package it up and ship it out. So some of the agents can also do like private labeling for you, custom packaging, and things like that. So where do you find these agents, right? These agents are actually pretty hard to find, and it's hard to actually establish trust, similar in a way that it is on AliExpress and Alibaba. You can start by looking at like LinkedIn or Fiverr, people claiming they're drop shipping agents and can help you communicate, but you really have to do the vetting still and try to find that perfect one. It is a little bit easier than just going through random suppliers on AliExpress, but you have to build up that relationship over time and actually believe them of knowing what they're talking about and what services that they actually provide. They do advertise a little bit, so you can search for like a dropshipping agent on Google, but again, it's just a matter of trustworthiness and finding the right one, which can be hard to do by yourself, especially if you're a beginner, which is why the company Zendrop even exists in the first place. They do all of that heavy lifting for you and then put features on top of it as well. So before I cover the last option for a supplier, there's 3 things I want you to remember if you're going with the route of AliExpress or Alibaba or finding an agent. One is communication. Communication is key. If your supplier cannot communicate with you, that is effective time-wise. They might not have the best English. They just don't know what you're saying, or it's just in general hard to communicate with them. That is a big no-no. You want to avoid those suppliers. You want someone that's very interested in becoming a partner with you rather than just using you to make a couple sales and they don't really care about you. You want that communication barrier to be strong. The second thing is trust. You want your supplier to be very transparent about their capabilities and limitations. Some suppliers will say yes to everything. Yeah, I can do private labeling. Yeah, I can get that color for you or that custom feature. And it's just to earn your business, and they truly can't do it. They need to set realistic expectations with you. That way, your end customer, when they get the product, it's not something completely different than what you're promising them. Trust definitely takes time to build up, so you want to order sample products from them, make sure that they can actually fulfill what they say they can. And it's not a bad thing if they say, I can only do 50 orders a day maximum right now until we get more orders coming in. You want that trust and transparency. That is just authentic. You don't want them to say, yeah, do 500 orders right now and I'll ship it out eventually. Because then they'll just take your money, keep it on the back end and have them back ordered. And that ends up hurting you and the customer because the shipping times will be longer. And lastly, you want a decent shipping time. You want something under 14 days for sure. And you want to make sure that your supplier that you're looking for can actually do that, because in the age of Amazon, people expect deliveries in like 1 to 3 days. But if it's a small business like yourself and you have a really nice branded website, they're willing to wait a week, 2 weeks maximum. So you really want to keep that under that time frame, which is why you need to order sample orders and basically track all of your orders from an AliExpress or Alibaba supplier for a long time to make sure they're all coming on time, which is again is why that trust takes a long time to build up. So keep those 3 things in mind, but let's move on to the next way that you can actually find a supplier or use them for dropshipping and e-commerce. Now, if you're someone that really likes to take full control of your business, this supplier is more your speed, but there's a little bit more risk involved and it is a little bit pricier. So this is using a 3PL site. A 3PL site is a third-party logistics site. So it's basically just a warehouse, and their whole service is storing your product, maybe helping you with packaging and getting those things in, and they're providing the service of shipping out your product in a timely manner while also providing you great customer service in doing so. So some companies that do this are like a ShipBob, where you just basically send out your product to them and they will pack it up and ship it as your orders come in. The big benefit of 3PLs are they're mainly United States based, so they get really fast shipping times. You also kind of get full control of your business because you can physically go there and just drop off your boxes if you want to, if it's a local one. And you also build a relationship with that 3PL of how to actually get things done. You kind of have full control of the packaging process, the shipping, how you want things to look. It makes it a lot easier, but there are some downsides to a 3PL, right? So you're taking on a lot more risk because they're not sourcing the product from a manufacturer. They're waiting for you to send the product to them, which means now you have to find the product yourself, buy it in bulk, and ship it over to the 3PL, who then ships it out to the customer, which is where you take on more risk because you're putting more money up front. This also adds another con to your business. If you're running this by yourself completely, you now have to manage another supply chain, right? So you need to match the supply and demand and do some forecasting as well. So for example, if I start selling 50 orders a day and then all of a sudden ramps up to 75 or 100, you might not have that amount in your warehouse or your 3PL to actually ship out. So you have to have this balancing game of, running lean and not having too much product on stock, because a lot of them charge you for having product that's just sitting there. You want to be able to forecast it and be as lean as possible, which adds another job onto your already busy plate, which is why moving on to a 3PL is not the best idea in the beginning, but it's more for down the road when you're already established and selling a lot of products. And then hopefully you can actually hire someone to help you with all those things. So 3PLs do have a lot of advantages, especially like with the control side of your business. But I think as a beginner, like I was saying, it's just not the best option right in the beginning. All right, so those are the main ways that you can supply your business, whether it's drop shipping or e-commerce. I hope that you guys liked my honest recommendations here and the options that you guys have. I've pretty much used all of these. So if you have any questions about any of them, leave a comment down below and I'll try to get back to you. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, because I'm posting e-com content twice a week. All right, guys, again, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.